Welcome back to Reading Bear. Today, we will take a look at some new revenge stories. And if you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comments. Let's go!
The first one is titled, I got fired for a dime, but did I get revenge? This happened years ago. My actual first job working for a pay, we got paid in cash. This is important later. Just a little background. My first job was working at a local drive-in. Yes, I'm that old. Anyway, anyone who has worked in a movie house knows how much work there is to do for an insanely short period of time and then it just drops off. Same with a drive-in, only the folks never stopped coming in and at intermission it was chaotic. When our shift started, we had to make popcorn for the entrance. We sold boxes there, enough for the snack bar to use, boil the hot dogs and set up the French fries to drop and get the oil heated up for steak fingers, fries, tots, etc. So there was a lot of activity. When we started, our manager at the time was a 30-ish guy whose wife managed one of the other drive-ins close by. He was a tyrant. Had us come in on Sundays to fix speakers without pay because, in his words, we got paid for doing this job during the week. This drive-in was the only two-screen drive-in in town. That meant on any given night there would be 2 prime movies followed by a B movie on each screen. The kind you might use for other activities. At a drive-in, our work rotation consisted of cashier, ticket at the gate, sometimes 2 pair for a new release and 5 to 6 working the snack bar. We all rotated jobs so everyone had a chance to work at the gate. Whoever was giving tickets had to wear a pair of white overalls, as dealing with a lot of cars things could get messy. The ticket part of the job was to take the money from the driver, hand it to the cashier, and then give back whatever change they needed and tear the ticket in half to give them their half and put the sold half in a jar. That way the money would be equal to the ticket sales. More on that after I finish this part of the story. Anyway, one night I was scheduled for ticket. Loved that part, as you'll find out. We were having a really good Friday night, about 200 cars with 3 to 4 people each. Prices were by the carload, and $5 got you in. I also sold popcorn at the gate, so I had my own money bag and about 100 boxes of popcorn to sell at 50 cents a box. All well and good. We closed the gate when the opening features started, the commercials, promos for future movies, cartoon, etc. We counted up our monies, both from ticket sales and popcorn. The cashier counted her money and said, "I'm a dime short." "Are you sure?" I asked. I counted and sure enough, she was a dime short somehow. I had made a bit extra in my count because some folks didn't want change back, so I had a few dollars more than the boxes of popcorn I sold, so I took a dime from my bag to make hers balance. We head back to the snack bar, because we still had to help get ready for intermission. Yeah, remember I said we had 5 to 6 to work the snack bar? On weekends it was usually 5 to 6 to work both sides of the snack bar. So it was going to be real busy for most of the evening. We get back to the snack bar and immediately the manager, who has had a few, starts counting our bags. I mentioned that cashier was a dime short and I gave a dime from my bag to balance hers. I never got the chance to explain I had tip money. This is how the conversation went. "You're fired for a dime?" Yes, if she was short she would be fired and have to explain why. But I had tip money so I could balance her bag for the night. Tip money should have come to me to distribute, not for you to use how you feel. "You're fired." So I am sort of glad I can get away from this job. During the summers when we were out repairing the speakers it got insanely hot and zero shade. We got no breaks for water or bathroom or got paid for the hours we put in. "Okay, I'll leave and pick up my pay on Friday." And I started to walk out. "Wait, you have to finish up before you go." "No I don't, you just fired me." "I guess you'll have to help tonight." He never helped. In fact, we rarely saw him once the movies started, and on Friday, Saturday nights when we were really busy, he brought in female companions for the evening and locked himself in his office. During the week he would get drunk and pass out. Then we'd open the doors and enjoy the movie while getting ready for intermission. We'd close them right before because the tyrant wouldn't let us watch the movie even if we had nothing to do and was always hovering around at intermission. I felt bad for his wife. I had worked a couple of weeks for her since she was short-handed, and her and the tyrant were used to helping each other, so all the women that would show up on weekends were there as his entertainment. Anyway, I get in my car, find an empty spot and watch the rest of the movies for the night, wondering about getting another job. I could have ranted about the dime, and argued what I did was the right thing to do, but it would have fallen on deaf ears. And since the next payday was Friday, the owners would be in the main office counting cash and checking records for the 12 drive-ins in the city. I show up and knock on the door to be let in as the office is locked all the time. I explain what had happened and was there for my pay. The owner is a little upset that I did what I did with the dime, but that it wasn't worth firing me for it, and I should have explained the tip money. I said I was never given the chance to tell my side. On another subject, did you know that manager was bringing in hookers on Fridays, and not paying us for working on Sundays when we repaired speakers? They didn't know about the hookers, the drinking, or the fact he had turned in time for us working, but took the cash out of our pay and pocketed it. This is Friday night. I have to go to the movie tonight. I go alone and pick a spot near the door to the snack bar. About an hour into the movie, the manager arrives with 2 girls, and they look like they have already started to party, and they go in. 5 minutes after that, a sedan and a police car drive up to the door and 2 men get out of the sedan. The owner's with the police. Not 5 minutes after that, his wife drives up. Mad as hell. Stomps her way into the building. You could hear the screaming over the volume of the speaker for the movie. The door flies open, the hookers are literally tossed into the yard, the police come out with the manager half dressed in cuffs, and the wife is beating on him with a broom. It was a sight. I was told he was charged with embezzlement, lewd behavior in front of minors, and some other drunk and disorderly charges. His wife left him, took over managing most of the drive-ins for the owners, and folks had a good time. Everyone got back pay, including me, so it all worked out. Oh yeah. Ticket sales at the gate. Since all of us who worked there were getting crapped on every day, we came up with a little scam of our own. Part of the ticket job was to tear the tickets in half and keep one half for the office, the other for the purchase jar. Well, what we did was tear the ticket in half, give the half to the driver, and then give the next guy the other half of the ticket. $5 to the cashier, ticket duo. Do that for an evening, it was an extra $50 for the night. More than we got paid for the week. We were all in on it, and since we were scheduled evenly, no one complained about it or felt left out. Manager got convicted for that too. The next one is titled, Take All My Change. Okay, this is super petty and may upset some taxi drivers if you are UK based, but I just snapped one night. This was last year and was going from my house to my friend's house. I had hurt my knee, and although I normally walk a 20-minute walk, 5 minutes in a cab, I couldn't, so I called a private hire taxi. Normally in a taxi to my friends it's only around £3, and I had a £10 note on me to pay. Please keep in mind, one of the rules of this private hire taxi is they must always keep change, or a loose change cash float. Within a space of a month I had had 4 taxi drivers make me get out to go into a shop to get money due to them not having change. It adds more onto the journey and is just a ball ache. So I got in, told my destination, and just had a nice little chat. Told me I was his first job of the day. Reached my friend's house. He told me the fare cost £3.20. I handed over the money, then he turned and started at me. Do you have any less? No, sorry, that's all I have on me. Well, I have no change. Now there's an awkward silence. I'll take you to a shop and get change. I said, I can call my friend now and see if she will come out with change. He insisted no, drove me to the nearest shop. Told me to get out, go in the shop and get change. So with my knee injury I hobbled out as he watched me limp to the shop. I was seething as he sat there, basically another taxi driver making me get his change for the day as he had not bothered to bring any out with him. Walk up to the counter with my £10 note and said to the lady behind the counter, "Hi, can you change this £10 into change if that's okay with you, but if it's possible could you change £4 of it into 5 pennies please?" Lady stared at me but happily passed me bags of 5 pennies change and 2 pennies bags of money equivalent to £4 and the £6 in a £1 coins. I thanked her, hobbled back in the taxi, and he dropped me off at my friend's. Look of pure anger in his face was worth it when I sat and counted out the money he was owed for the fare in 5 pennies. Hey mate. You asked for change. I got you change, even if it's small change, it's change. Completely petty. Completely worth it. Do I need to get a life? Of course. The next one is titled, Beat a Craigslist Scammer at His Own Game. So I was hunting for a rental house for the Valentine's Day weekend and wasn't finding much, so I popped into the local Craigslist page and found a place at a decent but very believable price. No contact info or website, so I emailed through the Craigslist relay. Everything sounds legit up until he asks me to pay using Zelle or bank transfer. Immediately knew it was a scam, but I played along acting confused because I'd never used Zelle. He sends me the Zelle info to send the payment. At this point I reverse image search the cabin and find the actual property owner info and call them. He confirmed that he has had this scam happen before, and angry people show up expecting a rental that is already legitimately reserved and demanding a refund. I give him the links and info to the fake Craigslist posting so he can report it. So now I have confirmed that this is 100% a scam, so I decide to have a go at this guy and see how far I can get. After a few more confused sounding email regarding how to get the money to him over Zelle, I send him the request, but instead of paying him I sent it as a request for payment. I send a few more messages saying it is not going through, and then I get a notification saying a payment has been received. Sure enough, he approved my payment request and sent me the money he was trying to get me to send him. So I had over $400 sitting in my Zelle account from a guy in Nigeria who was trying to scam me out of my romantic weekend. The next one is titled, No One Likes a Litterbug. I was driving with my boyfriend sitting in the passenger seat. We were at a stoplight minding our own business. Traffic was moderate, there were about 20 cars ahead of me. I notice a truck in front of me who also seemed to be minding her own business. Suddenly, I saw a Wendy's bag fly out the passenger window and onto the street. I then see the door open, and the heathen set a large Wendy's cup down on the street. I've tried to figure out why they cared enough to not spill the drink, nothing comes to mind. This lit an angry fire inside me. The area I live in is well known for its many rivers, so littering is not something to be taken lightly. Not that it ever should be. I don't think I could have controlled myself if I tried, but I instantly unbuckled, quickly got out and picked up the Wendy's bag. I tossed it with all of my might against the back window. The driver and passenger who had been previously jamming out instantly froze. Then, I took the half-full Wendy's drink and threw it at the window. It was incredibly satisfying to see the brown soda shower explode all over the window bed of the truck. I quickly turned around and hopped back in my car. Thankfully the two heathens did not move. A girl waiting next to my car gave me a thumbs up. I turned to my boyfriend and said, "Damn, I should probably not do something like that again." He just slowly nodded and we went about our day. Yes, I know I am incredibly lucky that they didn't retaliate. I won't do something like that again. But damn, it felt good. The next one is titled, I Walk Away with a Broken Heart. She walks away with a family that hates her. So I have been dating this girl for about a month. We really clicked and I fell in love. It's not a very long distance relationship, only about 300 miles apart, but there is stuff keeping us away, mainly money and time. So she goes to her cousins for New Year's and we stay in contact and do what we usually do. She introduces me over live video to her family. She tells me that she has a crush on her cousin. He's 16 and not related by blood. I take it as a joke and say, "You love me more, right honey?" "Of course I love you more." As the night goes on, she and her cousin start drinking and she tells me that they slow danced. I thought, well, that's weird, but they are family and probably drunk. I tell her to be careful on how much she drinks, then go back my music. Then it hits 12 and it's 2020. Since it's late, I just text Happy New Year's in case she passed out drunk. 2 hours later she calls me. I pick up the phone and she told me what happened. She and her cousin were drunk. Flirting turned into making out, which then turned into sex twice. She said that she was sorry and it was just drunk sex. I love you and that's all that matters, right? I find an excuse to hang up and try to go to bed. I am so angry that I can't sleep. I can't control myself and the only thought running through my head was, I'm gonna get back at her. I take screenshots of our chats in which she admitted what she had done, then I took those and sent them out to multiple family members and told them what happened. Cut to the next day and her mother has her on the phone and the family is actually thanking me for bringing this to their attention, her cousin's mother thanking me and saying, "It's ducking repulsive. I am disgusted by her actions." The next one is titled, "Mock my part-time job and say you can do it better. Enjoy your burnt finger kid." This happened in about 2002. I was in a sub-program where I had a paid part-time job during school hours where I was a dishwasher at a local elementary school. I would wash mostly those colored plastic eating trays, and then whatever the cooks used to cook with. And kids frequently volunteered to bring me trays on carts so I or the cooks wouldn't have to get it myself. Which was nice of them. One day when I was just loading trays into the huge industrial dishwasher, some mean kid in a red shirt who looked about 8 years old brought me a cart of trays. Then just stood there and stared at me for a while. I asked what he wanted and he asked me how much money I make. So I told him. Then he started talking about how he could do my job better, how much faster he'd be than me, how much cooler he'd look doing it, and how much more money he could make, etc. At that point I was struck with an evil idea and said, "Oh really? Can you do this?" I then put my gloved hand flat on the washer, which was very hot stainless steel. But I was used to it after touching it so many times while doing that job for months. The kid scoffed and said, "Of course I can do that." Then he put just one finger on the washer and said, "I don't feel any aahhh." He grasped his finger in pain and ran out of the kitchen crying. I never saw him again. I'm pretty sure the cooks saw what happened too, and just didn't say anything because that kid was a little jerk and got what he deserved. The next one is titled, "Third Shift, Lunch Thief." From 2002 to 2006 I worked the night shift in the Blue Army of Bentonville. I worked in the chemical department, restocking laundry, dish, paper goods, which at the time was smack middle of the store. This was before the Bentonville Blue Army branched into having groceries in every store and moving chemicals to the middle of that area. One of the others on the overnight crew was, unbeknownst to me, notorious for stealing whatever he could get his hands on from other employees. His shift started an hour after mine, so he would be in the break room by himself at the start of every shift. He wasn't new. I guess he just went down the line looking for what he could get and I became his next victim. I was young and ate Hot Pockets for most of my lunches. I worked a set schedule and the night crew had their own fridge from night to night that was locked during the day. So I would bring 10 Hot Pockets in a grocery bag on my Monday and then eat 2 per night all week. About 2 months in I discovered my lunch stash was light by Wednesday. And it was the same every week after that. By Wednesday I'd be missing at least 1, sometimes as many as 4. Obviously I was upset. I spent about a month trying to catch the thief in the act. I never did, so I was telling a buddy about it one weekend and he suggested I go to the local farm supply store and get a set of laxatives for livestock and then to make a special sauce. So I did. I talked a friend who's a veterinary assistant and we picked a dosage that wouldn't cause permanent damage. We thought a set of Hot Pockets and then dosed half the week's batch with a syringe of liquid laxative. I put a little Sharpie dot on the corner of the packaging and then stuck them back in the freezer. On Thursday of the following week I learned the name of my thief. He spent 6 of his 8-hour shift in the bathroom and was out sick the next 7 days. Did he learn his lesson? No, he did not. He stole again 2 weeks later. This time he was fired for no call no show 2 days later. Edit: I consulted with a veterinary professional prior to dosing my food as to the possible medical side effects. I hypothetically consulted with a local police friend prior to dosing my food, Class 2 misdemeanors, willful misconduct. I was aware of the risks associated. Based on the ingredients it was unlikely to have any allergens that would affect the perpetrator. At no point did I offer to share my food with anyone. I dosed my food with the intention of receiving a predetermined sick day of my choosing. Do with that information what you will. I never got caught and no one ever stole my food again. The statute of limitations on the incident ran out in 2013 for the state where it was committed. I'm not a dumb person. With the exception of telling the story a couple of times at a bar for laughs, I have never put it on the internet before now. About 2 years after this story happened, I shared it with an unrelated friend, and as it happens she was a friend of the offending party, who told her to never eat Hot Pockets, the crap they put in 'em is disgusting. The last one is titled, I almost put a kid in the hospital. So in elementary school there was this one kid who always picked on me and tried to get me to snap and for me to get in some sort of extreme trouble. This was unrelenting, mind you. Every time I came to school I absolutely felt like crap. One morning as I walk into class, this kid gives me a death glare. I assume this is just him being a little crap. I am putting my stuff in the little cubicle thing for your backpack and taking off my heavy overcoat. As I am doing this hellspawn decides to smack me in the back of the head and has the audacity to say, "What are you gonna do?" At this point I am still half asleep, so this enacted the ultimate fight or flight response. It was like one of those cheesy 80s karate movies. I sort of grab his forearm and almost break his arm backwards. I then spin him around and slam hard, and I mean damn hard, into the edge of the desk, and punch him as hard as I can in the nose. At this I am seeing red, on autopilot. If the teacher hadn't pulled me away I easily would have broken every bone in this kid's face. Thanks for listening.